Welcome to the Sunday Driver. Today we're in the hills around San Diego, California, driving third generation Porsche Cayman. My sports car expectations have been recalibrated by this car. In the dollars to driving pleasure equation, Porsche is the answer. You could get a more expensive sports car, but anything more exotic, more expensive than Porsche would just be diminishing returns. Porsche really is the sweet spot. Now, before you write me off as a Porsche fanboy, I do have some bones to pick with the base Cayman, and a fairly objective review is forthcoming, so stick around. I'm going to look at what I loved about the Cayman, look at a few negatives, and finally some suggestions for improvement. Let's talk about what made me a raving Porsche lunatic. The biggest thing was how the Cayman goes around corners. The Cayman turns in so willingly, puts down so much cornering grip, and gives copious amounts of feedback about how hard you're pushing. I enjoyed the steering feel and feedback from the road. If I had not known the Cayman has electric steering, I would never have guessed it. The chassis and the mid-engine configuration is amazing. It is as if the car was machined from one solid block of titanium. The chassis is communicative, but never harsh. This car rode on 19-inch Pirelli P0 tires, costing $1,450 a set, with a uniform tire quality grade of 220. Some fast-wearing, expensive rubber. Wowza! Better start saving up for tires if this is your daily driver. Unless you'll be driving your Porsche on some twisty roads on a regular basis, or take it on the track, then you're seriously missing out on the best part of the car. The brakes were another highlight. A lot of feedback. I needed a road course to really put the brakes through their paces. The mountain road is just not enough challenge. The ergonomics are impressive from the driver's seat, seating position, and visibility. I'm 5'10", and I like to sit upright in the car. I run into headroom issues in a lot of cars due to my preference for upright seating, but no issues here. Tall car enthusiast, check out Porsche. You'd be surprised by how much headroom there is. I find the rear view mirror mounted too low in a lot of cars. The view to the right is blocked by a ginormous OnStar mirror, or in BMW's case, by a car alarm light hanging off the bottom of the mirror. No issues in the Cayman. The mirror is mounted high on the windshield, and forward visibility is great. I love the attention to detail with the rear view mirror. It is shaped just so, to give you full coverage of a rear window, but it's not an inch bigger than it has to be to maintain maximum forward visibility. My car had the base seats, which are called sport seats. They were comfortable, but I seemed to move around in the corners quite a bit. By the end of the day, my left leg was sore from bolstering myself against the door. Now partly that is my bad, as I should have been pressing my left foot into the dead pedal, but I guess I forgot in the heat of the moment. I would order the sports seats plus though, the next level of seat. As this car has so much lateral grip, you will want as much support and bolstering as possible. The rear visibility is great, at least on the freeway in the city. Not too sure about parking as I didn't do much of that. There is lots of window behind the driver for shoulder checks, as there is no B-pillar in this car. My biggest problem with this car is why did I spend most of my day in this PDK equipped 7-speed gearbox car in first and second gear? I would wind out first to redline, have a PDK shift into second, which would drop the RPM too low to be in the power band. I would persevere, push on through, and eventually get back into the power band. I would not get the opportunity to wind out redline in second. Occasionally, I short shifted just to hear the super quick PDK upshift and give me one more melodious PDK rev match downshift breaking into the corners. Second gear tops out at a whopping 70 miles per hour. Now these gear ratios might be fine when you're trying to hit the car's maximum velocity, 260 kilometers per hour on the Autobahn, but this 2.7 liter engine will be much more capable when paired with a close ratio gearbox that will keep the engine in the power band. The quick shifting PDK and close ratio gears will be a delicious combination, but I suspect will make the car a lot snappier in acceleration, perhaps at the expense of top speed. But to me, that is a trade-off I will be willing to make. In street driving, this car is plenty fast. It is on the mountain roads and tight corners on a racetrack where drivers will wish for the 3.4-liter engine of a Cayman S. Two other issues emerged during testing. The first was a hatchback squeak, which was surprising considering the car only had 4,000 miles on the odometer. The only solution I found? Turn up the stereo. My car did not have a steering wheel mounted switches for the stereo. Perhaps this would have cleared up the sea of buttons between the PDK shifter and the nav screen. A lot of systems are controlled from there. Navigation, HVAC, stereo, and heated seats. This is one area of the car which is not driver oriented, as the buttons are too small, too cluttered to adjust on the fly. This car could really use a heads-up display, or a HUD as the fighter pilots call it. When you're pushing it in the twisties, it'd be nice to know what gear the PDK is in. The PDK removes you from the driving experience a bit, but I feel the HUD will bring you some valuable info so you can be in a correct gear coming out of the corners. Lacking gear info and too focused on the road to glance down at the dashboard, at corner entry I was just clicking the downshift button repeatedly, letting the PDK take care of over-rev protection and getting me into the lowest gear possible considering my entry speed. Yes, I said downshift button. This car did not have the optional shifter paddles. There are two shifter buttons on the steering wheel, 9 and 3 o'clock. Both buttons work identically. It is a push forward to upshift and pull towards the driver to downshift. Not the most intuitive, but if you get it wrong, the computer will not let the engine over-rev. Did I love this car? Yes, I did. The Cayman corners as hard as any road car has any business cornering. I honestly don't need any more grip. In fact, I will consider running slightly skinnier tires for a bit less grip, just so the traction limit is a little more accessible, similar to the Scion FRS. If the base Cayman had such high lateral grip and was so enjoyable in the corners, it begs the question, what is the point of a more expensive Porsche? Extra power maybe? This is why I would buy the Cayman S instead. Would I choose the PDK or the manual? You'll have to watch my dual clutch versus manual video to find out. Rate, comment, and subscribe below for more Sunday driver reviews. Where will the Sunday driver be next? What will he be driving?